It's said that the job market has a massive amount of openings. If you want a job, it's there for the taking. In fact, some industries you can pretty much name your terms if you want to. The reality is that is not true for everyone. The hearing impaired continue to face challenges in getting one of those jobs. The workforce participation rate for deaf individuals is far greater than the overall number, in spite of many of those wanting a job. Here in New Jersey, an organization has just received a state grant to assist the deaf attain the employment as well as independence that they are deserving of by every means necessary. With us now to discuss this from Easter Seals, New Jersey, is their Career Pathways Connection Lead Employment Readiness Specialist, Grace Inoa. How are you today, Grace?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for having me.
And learn more about the services and especially about what the program we're about to talk with Grace about and how it can help you or someone that you know or related to or married to, whatever the case may be. EasterSeals.com/NJ. And we do have that link, as always, on our homepage. So this is connected to the Career Pathways Connections program of Easter Seals, New Jersey. It's received a $1 million grant from the state. It's spread over 5 years. What does the Career Pathways Connection program do, just as a foundation for our talk here?
So we focus mainly on the deaf and hard of hearing community. Our mission is to enrich the lives of people living with disabilities and special needs and those who care about them by providing opportunities to live, learn, work, and play in their community.
I mentioned, too, the statistics paint a challenging picture. If you look at, and these are the most recent numbers from the Labor Department, the workforce participation rate, those not in the workforce among overall people, 20.8%. It certainly changed for the better, especially after the pandemic. But if you look at deaf people, the people not in the labor force, almost 43%, 42.9%. And as I said, Grace, those are people who do want to work. Isn't that true?
Yes, that's the bottom line. Deaf people are ready to work. Easter Seals is all about empowerment and equal opportunity. And we are here to educate, employers and also ultimately the clients about, what is the American Disabilities Act? What are their rights? What do they have the right to obtain?
It's important, too, that you make sure that the employers, not just potential and prospective employees, are aware of things, because I found this just doing some general web surfing. This back a few years because obviously the company Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore. But a few years ago, U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission cited language in suing Toys R Us. They required a deaf applicant to provide their own interpreter at a group interview. So just demonstrating how much this deaf individual wanted the job. She brought along her mother to step into that role, but even with that, the company refused to hire her. So the employers have to realize they share some of the responsibility for fairness in this picture too, don't they?
Absolutely. Of course, the American Disabilities Act, a certified interpreter is considered a reasonable accommodation. So this law is amazing because it provides these kinds of accommodations for anyone with disabilities, of course, pertaining to the deaf and hard of hearing community for that sign language interpreter. But this is crucial in order to achieve successful communication.
Now, the Career Pathways Connection, that's not a new program. What this grant is going to do is going to provide the funding to do a full expansion. This will now want to make this program now available all throughout the state of New Jersey?
Correct. So this is amazing because now we have the tools to be able to provide services and assistance all throughout the state. So there are people throughout all of New Jersey, as I mentioned before, that are ready to get, their feet wet, whether they have just recently graduated from high school and are interested in obtaining a job, or, maybe they have recently caused some kind of hearing loss late in their life, and they have no idea of the possibilities and resources that are out there for them. So we're happy to provide kind of education and, that career pathway for them to ultimately become successful in their careers.
Talking with Grace Inoa, who is from Easter Seals, New Jersey. She is their Career Pathways Connection Lead Employment Readiness Specialist, easterseals.com/NJ. And you are listening to Issues and Ideas. So take us through the program and what it offers, Grace. Someone contacts you through the website or 732-227-4248. I'll give you that number again at the end, so if you want to be ready for it, you've now been forewarned. But someone makes that initial contact. What are your first steps with that individual?
So we provide support services to assist individuals with disabilities, with any kind of needs that they need in obtaining and maintaining competitive employment that results in self-sufficiency and increased independence. So that's typically what we encourage and what the services that we provide. When someone initially gets in through the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, they are then referred to us, Easter Seals. We go through an intake and, just to get to know a little bit more about the client, and then go through an employment plan and ultimately find out, what are their interests, what are their means of transportation, what do they want their job goal to be, and we coach them through these things. Afterwards, when they are finally placed, we help them with job coaching services so we can be there with them on site for support to educate them and the employers, and then, just be there for them for support. And hopefully this process can allow them to become more independent. So whether they're young and, they can get older, they can teach their kids and so on and so forth.
That support sounds like it's very important, too, and it's not just, okay, we've completed the program, good luck to you, just don't show them the door and hope for the best, because, like it or not, the reality is that anyone with any kind of disability comes into a workplace with a stigma, and if they're perceived, at least, doesn't mean they necessarily are, but just if they're perceived as not measuring up, there's the risk of isolation and them souring on a job that they worked very hard to attain.
Exactly. So a lot of that comes from, just not knowing. So once they're able to learn more about it, they realize, as employer, coworker, you can see that lots of things that can implement and that this individual can actually provide to their company are far more exceptional than just small investments. Most of the time they don't know about it, so it just seems too far-fetched. But once they learn about it, it feels much more natural. I'm sure maybe the first forklift that showed up in a warehouse seemed a bit odd, but now it probably feels necessary and can actually benefit all those around them.
Now, are these programs on a schedule that they have finite beginning and end dates? Are these ongoing programs that whenever someone contacts Easter Seals, New Jersey, and the CBC, there's something right there, right then?
So, yeah, we ultimately like to provide services for them until the client feels independent enough. Like you mentioned before, we don't just open the door and kind of tell them to walk through on your own. We really love to provide that informed choice for clients to decide, when they would like to continue services or if they feel independent enough to have their case closed. We are there with them all the way through to provide support and, be that coach for them whenever they need it.
Sounds like a wonderful program. Sounds like certainly a great answer for those who are legitimately looking for work and want to show that a disability isn't a limitation. And that is in part what Easter Seals New Jersey is all about, and certainly through the Career Pathways Connections program. Now in the receipt of a 5-year, $1 million grant from the state of New Jersey, those services and program is going to be greatly expanded. So to find out more, you ready to write this down? If not, we have it at the website too, easterseals.com/NJ. And you can also call 732-227-4248. Again, that's 732-227-4248 to learn more about the Career Pathways Connections program from Easter Seals, New Jersey. And we've been joined by their program's lead employment readiness specialist, Grace Inoa. Grace, thank you so much for the encouragement and the support that you give a part of our population that is truly deserving of a lot more and a lot better than what they get by way too many. And you have them, you establish a self-worth for them, and that's a big payoff that a lot of people are going to want to benefit from. Thanks for your work and for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for giving us the platform and opportunity to discuss these services with your audience. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your work.